Saint Juan Diego and the Miracle of Our Lady of Guadalupe, a story of faith, devotion, and divine purpose. In the early 16th century, amid the vast and complex cultural landscape of the Aztec Empire, a boy named Teotzin meaning Singing Eagle was born in what is now Mexico. He grew up deeply embedded in the rich traditions and religious beliefs of the Aztec people. The native religion was central to his identity, and like many of his peers, he was steeped in the stories, gods, and rituals that had shaped generations of Mesoamerican civilization. However, everything changed when the Spanish arrived in the early 1500s, bringing with them not only a new political order, but also the Catholic faith. Among the most influential missionaries were the Franciscans, whose mission was to evangelize the native peoples of the New World. In 1524, Teotzin encountered these missionaries, and drawn by their teachings, converted to Catholicism. At his baptism, he received a new name, Juan Diego. This conversion marked not just a religious transformation, but the beginning of a deeply personal spiritual journey. While many indigenous people accepted Christianity under duress or for social reasons, Juan Diego embraced it sincerely and wholeheartedly. He became known for his piety, humility, and gentle nature. His life was modest. He lived in a small village called Tepeyac and walked several miles to attend Mass and receive religious instruction at the Franciscan mission in Tlatelolco. What happened to Juan Diego in 1531 not only changed the course of his life, but also altered the religious trajectory of the entire continent. The apparitions on Tepeyac Hill on the morning of December 9, 1531. While walking along his usual route near Tepeyac Hill, just north of present-day Mexico City, Juan Diego experienced something extraordinary. He heard celestial music and was enveloped in a radiant light. Before him stood a beautiful young woman, radiant and clothed in garments more splendid than anything he had ever seen. Speaking to him in his native Nahuatl language, the woman introduced herself as the Blessed Virgin Mary, the Mother of the true God through whom all lives. She told Juan Diego that she wished for a church to be built on that very hill, where she could show her love and compassion to all who called upon her. She instructed Juan to go to the local bishop, Fray Juan de, and deliver this message. Awestruck but obedient, Juan Diego made the journey to Mexico City and requested an audience with the bishop. As expected, the bishop was skeptical. Simple indigenous man's claim of a divine vision was not easily accepted, and Bishop asked for more proof before he would consider the request. Disheartened but not discouraged, Juan returned to Tepeyac Hill, where the Virgin appeared to him again. She encouraged him to try once more. He returned to the bishop the next day and pleaded more earnestly, though moved. Again asked for a sign. Before Juan Diego could return with a sign, he faced a personal crisis. His beloved uncle, Juan Bernardino, fell gravely ill. Out of concern for his uncle, Juan Diego avoided Tepeyac Hill, choosing another route to fetch a priest for last rites. But the Virgin appeared to him once more on December 12, 1531, intercepting him on the road. She reassured him with these tender words, which have echoed in Catholic hearts for centuries. "Am I not here, I who am your mother? Are you not under my shadow and protection?" She told him that his uncle was already healed and instructed him to return to the hilltop, where he would find the sign the bishop requested, the miraculous sign, Castilian roses and the Tilma. Obediently, Juan Diego ascended the hill and, to his astonishment, discovered Castilian roses blooming in the rocky winter-barren soil. These flowers were native to Spain and unheard of in Mexico during that season. He gathered them in his tilma, a simple cloak made of cactus fiber, and hurried back to present them to the bishop. When he reached the bishop and unfurled his tilma, something miraculous occurred. The roses spilled onto the floor, and suddenly an image of the Virgin Mary appeared on the inside of his tilma. This was not a mere stain or symbol, it was a perfect, vivid image of the Virgin, depicted as a mestiza woman, surrounded by rays of sunlight, standing on a crescent moon, and supported by an angel. This astonishing moment convinced Bishop of the authenticity of Juan Diego's message. He immediately ordered that a church be built on Tepeyac Hill, just as the Virgin had requested. Juan Diego's uncle later confirmed that he too had seen the Virgin Mary, and had been instantly cured. The image of Our Lady of Guadalupe, scientific enigma. The image imprinted on Juan Diego's tilma has become one of the most studied religious artifacts in the world. Despite nearly 5 centuries of scrutiny, scientific inquiry has yielded more questions than answers. The image continues to astonish researchers with its unexplainable qualities. Durability of the fabric? A typical tilma made from agave fiber would deteriorate within 15 to 30 years. However, Juan Diego's tilma has survived over 490 years with minimal degradation. For its first 115 years, it was completely unprotected, exposed to humidity, smoke from candles, incense, and countless touches from the faithful. Absence of underpainting or sketches, scientific examinations have shown no sign of preliminary sketches beneath the image. Modern artists typically sketch outlines before painting, yet no such marks exist. Moreover, the colors seem to float above the surface of the fabric without penetration. Mystery of the pigments. Nobel Prize-winning chemist Richard Kuhn, who analyzed the image in the mid-20th century, reported that the pigments used in the tilma were of unknown origin, neither mineral, animal, nor vegetable, given that synthetic pigments did not exist in the 1500s. This finding has baffled scientists. Incorruptibility of the image, while added embellishments such as gold leaf and painted features have deteriorated over time, the original image has remained vibrant. It is not cracked, faded, or flaked. Dr. Philip Cerna Callahan, using infrared photography, confirmed the remarkable preservation of the original image and the inexplicable manner in which it was formed. The eyes of the Virgin, perhaps the most astonishing feature, is the miraculous detail in the Virgin's eyes. Engineer Asta Tansman magnified the pupils 2,500 times and identified not only the image of Bishop, but also at least 13 individuals believed to have been present when the tilma was revealed. The eyes exhibit the Samson-Perkinge effect, complex optical phenomenon involving the reflection of multiple images. Something unknown in the 16th century and exceedingly difficult to replicate even with modern technology. Additionally, the curvature of the image in her eyes matches the natural curvature of a real human cornea. The image of Bishop, but also at least 13 individuals believed to complex optical phenomenon involving the reflection of multiple images. Something unknown. Additionally, canonization and the legacy of Saint Juan Diego after the apparitions. Juan Diego lived out his remaining years in quiet devotion. He moved into a small hermitage near the new shrine on Tepeyac Hill, where he helped care for the site and educate those who came to venerate the image. He died in 1548, only 17 years after the miraculous events that changed his life. The Catholic Church recognized his sanctity centuries later. On May 6, 1990, Pope John Paul II beatified him, and on July 31, 2002, he was officially canonized during a Mass at the Basilica of Our Lady of Guadalupe in Mexico City. Today, Saint Juan Diego is revered as the patron saint of indigenous peoples, and his feast day is celebrated on December 9th, the Basilica of Our Lady of Guadalupe. The church that the Virgin requested was built, but over time it has grown into much more. The modern Basilica of Our Lady of Guadalupe, constructed in the 1970s, is one of the most visited Catholic pilgrimage sites in the world, second only to the Vatican. It houses the original tilma, displayed behind bulletproof glass, attracting millions of visitors annually. Symbolism and cultural impact. The image of Our Lady of Guadalupe is rich with symbolic significance, especially for the indigenous people of Mexico. Her appearance as a mestiza woman, her use of native language, and the fusion of Christian and Mesoamerican imagery within the image itself serve as a profound bridge between two cultures for many Mexicans and Latin Americans. She represents not only religious devotion, but also cultural identity and national unity. The Virgin of Guadalupe became a central figure in the fight for Mexican independence and remains an emblem of social justice and protection for the oppressed. Her legacy continues to inspire artists, theologians, and social reformers alike. Lessons from the life of Saint Juan Diego. The story of Saint Juan Diego teaches powerful lessons in humility, courage, faith, and perseverance. God chooses the humble Juan Diego as not a priest, a bishop, or a nobleman. He was a poor indigenous man. Yet he was chosen for one of the most significant Marian apparitions in history. His story reminds us that God's plans often unfold through those the world overlooks. Persistence in faith. Despite being dismissed and doubted, Juan Diego remained faithful to the Virgin's message. His persistence, even when faced with skepticism, personal loss, and fear, is an example for all who struggle to follow their spiritual calling. Courage to share the truth. It would have been easier for Juan Diego to keep the apparition to himself, but he chose to risk ridicule and rejection for the sake of truth. His boldness inspires us to live our faith publicly and courageously. God meets us where we are. The Virgin appeared to Juan Diego on his path, speaking his language and addressing him with warmth and familiarity. God reaches out to each of us in the way we need most. Our daily routines can become the stage for divine encounters if we remain open. A legacy of hope. Even centuries later, Juan Diego's faith and obedience continue to bring people to Christ. His voice, though once soft and ignored, has become one of the loudest and most enduring in Christian history. Conclusion: a call to faith. Saint Juan Diego's life is not merely a historical account. It's a testimony to how one person's faith can ignite a movement. The miraculous Tilma of Our Lady of Guadalupe is a powerful reminder that faith and humility can open the door to divine miracles. His story compels us to listen for God's call in the ordinary moments of our lives and to respond with the same trust and devotion. As the Virgin spoke to him with maternal love, she speaks to us still. Do not fear, am I not here? I who am your mother? May we, like Juan Diego, answer with unwavering faith and hearts ready to serve. Thank you for watching.